Today we have the number one news reporter in the 757, the voice for the voiceless, Mrs. Rhoda Young.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for coming. I'm so excited to bring this conversation to y'all. We had a great conversation where we dove deep into insights, talked about tactical things, strategy, even personal experiences. So looking forward to y'all watching this episode. Bye.
Guys, good afternoon to each and every last one of you guys. Underneath the sound of my voice, like I told you guys, we are loving up here in the 757 and we're collaborating with different people from different walks of life. Guys, we are excited to bring in Chris A. Williams, guys. Chris A. Williams started off at 20 years old in real estate. How you doing?
I'm good. I appreciate you having me on.
I
It's an
appreciate
honor. It's an
you.
honor.
Can you tell us how you got started off in real estate?
Yeah, honestly, I was broke. I was a college dropout.
Mhm.
I didn't really have any direction in life, and I was working at Enterprise, not even helping people. I was cleaning cars in the back of Enterprise,
Cleaning cars.
cleaning cars shoes at Foot Locker, and I thought, man, my life, this isn't life. Like, I gotta be doing something with my life. So I was just researching, figuring out what could I do, because it's hard, being a young black man, and you can't see it now, but I got tattoos all down my arms too.
Right.
So it's like, really do that's going to make a big impact. So real estate is what popped up to me.
Wow.
Real estate intrigued me because it's like, you don't have to have a college degree, you don't have to have a bunch of money, anything like that to get into it.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, cool. Remember, I'm selling shoes at Foot Locker. And I'm like, all right, if I could sell shoes, I could sell houses, no problem. That was my
Wow.
thoughts.
That was your thought. So you go from working at Enterprise, cleaning cars, and becoming the number one seller in houses in Hampton Roads.
Yeah, the team overall, we were the number one team multiple times last year.
Wow.
And this wasn't even just Hampton Roads. This was across 100 different locations across the nation. And that was our very first year also.
And what really made you say real estate? I just want to get into your brain. I want to pick your brain just a little bit. Like, I'm just trying to imagine you clean cars and real estate. What made you say real estate?
It just had so much potential in it. It just had so much potential. And it's weird because, like, a lot of people who get in real estate at a young age, they have some background in real estate.
Right.
They may know some people in real estate. They maybe wanted to do real estate when they were young, but I didn't care nothing about real estate growing up. Like, my mom, she used to watch HGTV, House Hunters and all things like that. But, like, I didn't care nothing about it. Literally, when she would watch, I would walk in the other room because I didn't care nothing about real estate.
Yeah, she's watching this boring movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's funny how everything works. And then real estate just kept calling me for whatever reason. And I just thought, hey, like, this is my way to make something of myself. Because at that point in life, like, I was just such a failure. So I felt like.
So you felt like, but inside you was like, you was building mountains, and inside didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. Because I got into buying a house. I wanted to purchase a house, and they liked the way I spoke.
Okay.
And they was trying to encourage me. They actually paid for me to take the real estate test.
Yeah. You'd be good at real estate.
Yeah. And it wasn't complicated. It's just that I was so busy doing everything else. I didn't stay focused, and I was doing online. How did you find the time to stay focused to take the test?
That's the crazy thing. So I didn't do it like you're supposed to do it. So really what you're supposed to do, especially if you do it online, you really need to focus. You should dedicate like a couple weeks and just really focus, lock in on that. I didn't do that at all.
Okay.
Because I was working at Enterprise and Foot Locker, and I would work both those shifts the same day. So we're Enterprise 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then Foot Locker 1:30 or 2 to 9:30.
Right.
So I'm doing that almost every single day. So I barely had time.
Right.
And then I believe at the time I was in Hampton too.
Oh, wow.
And I was working in Virginia Beach, so I had to make that drive also.
Wow.
So I spread it out so long. It took me like 6 months really to do my class because I could only do a few hours per week.
Right. And you got to stay focused.
Yeah, you got to stay focused, 100%.
But it ain't, guys, if you're looking for real estate, you want to be an agent, it ain't complicated. It's just finding the time to stay dedicated and focused.
Yeah.
Your first year, you got into real estate. I'm not gonna say you failed, but you didn't do as well as you expected.
It was a struggle. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I count it as a failure. Well, really, it's not a failure because all the lessons I learned during that period. But at the time, trust me, it felt like a failure. And if you remember 2020, like, at least everybody that I'm around, because I'm a little younger, like, everybody was what I call hood rich at that time. Everybody was doing unemployment, PPP. Like,
that was COVID.
Yeah, everybody was like a COVID millionaire. All my friends was in Miami living it up, and here I am broke. Broke. My partner at the time, she was getting $600 a week off of unemployment, and I'm going to the office slaving every single day. First one in, last one out. not making any money whatsoever.
How did you not give up? How did you stay focused? I'm like that losing streak. How did you stay focused? How did you not throw in the towel?
Honestly, just being grounded in my faith.
Mm-hmm.
Faith is the biggest thing that's pushed me to when it's been tough times, and it just keeps me focused because I know at the end of the day, God's got me.
Right.
And I also believe heavily in just hard work. And I know just off the principles of life, like if you just work hard at something, you're going to make it. And especially if I got God on my side, oh my God, like I'm definitely going to make it.
You speak a lot about God. What is your relationship with the Lord?
My relationship with God has been, it's been interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just celebrated, 10 years of being baptized a few days ago. It's been interesting though. And I will say, unfortunately, in that 10 years, it hasn't been the best. Like there's been times I've strayed away from God.
Right.
There's been times where I thought I could do it myself. There's been times where the egos got to my head, where my material things, like I can do it without God.
Right.
But the thing that I love about God is that he's never left me during that time.
Wow.
He's always made a way. He's always provided, no matter how I felt about him, no matter how many times I skipped church, no matter how many times I didn't read my Bible. He's always provided for me. So I'm eternally grateful for him. And at this point, I'm just trying to do whatever I can to get closer to him and honor him in everything that I do.
Simply amazing. I am so proud of you.
Thank you. I definitely
He started off, guys, Chris A. Williams, at 20 years old, guys, working at Foot Lockers, Enterprise, cleaning cars. And he just felt, though, this is not it. This is not what God intended for me to be. And he wanted more. So he decided to take the real estate course, and he successfully completed it. His first year in real estate wasn't what he thought it was going to be. But with that faith in God, he did not give up. He kept on pushing. He kept working early and working really late. And after the first year, his life turned around. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that major turnaround.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that first year, like you said, was such a struggle. I only closed 2 houses the entire first year. And I was working. I got licensed in March. I only sold one in August, and I sold one in November, I want to say. 2 years, 2 houses the entire year. The next year, I sold 24 houses.
Wow.
So a 12x increase, which was crazy. And the crazy thing about it is there wasn't much that I changed. Wow. There wasn't really much that I changed. Like within that first year and the second year, I didn't have some miracle revelation and, think of something brand new. I was just doing the same things as I was doing before. But I think why I didn't have success that first year is because I wasn't ready for it.
Right. It wasn't your time. It's God's time.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It was God's time. And it's hard when you're in that moment because you're like, man, like, I think I was praying. I'm like, God, I feel like I'm ready for it. You know, like, what's up? What's going on? Yeah. I'm doing all the things I was supposed to do. But now looking back on it, if I would have got the blessings that I got, even my second year, I wouldn't be here. There's no way. I would have. Right. I was.
You got kind of like big-headed.
I would have got big-headed. My ego would have got in the way. I had the wrong people in my life still. All of that. So that second year is when I got everything situated. I got the people who weren't supposed to be in my life anymore. We removed them. I stayed humble. That first year humbled me tremendously. Okay. I was humble and, I was ready for my blessings.
And you also start digging deeper into the research of doing real estate.
Exactly. Yep.
You wanted more. So the same way you were when you was washing cars and working at Foot Locker, you start digging deeper into the real estate aspect of it. You an agent.
Yeah.
When did you decide, or how did you make it to be a team leader?
Yeah. So we're going to fast forward a couple of years because that's last year, 2024 is when I decided that. Because one thing that I know it all keeps coming back to God is I feel like God really speaks to me even when I'm not looking for it. Right. And I was satisfied at end of 2023, started 2004. I was pretty satisfied. I was like, I'm having a good life. I'm making a lot of money. I'm living a lifestyle in which I want to. But God was like, hey, more. And that's why I kind of get irritated in a sense when like people bring up certain verses. They'll be like, God doesn't call people to be rich, or God doesn't, want that. And I don't think that's true. Right. Because just how I know God's spoken to me, he's always called for more. He's always said increase, abundance. Yeah, exactly. So that's what planted that seed in my mind. Like, okay, abundance. It's time to get bigger. It's time to get better. And also, I'll say I ignored it at first, to be honest with you.
But you wasn't selfish about it.
Exactly. I wasn't selfish about it 100%. But I say I ignored it at first, but God kind of put scenarios in my life where I had to, where my career just started exploding so much. I was getting so many clientele that it was too much for me to handle myself. And it was like, all right, I could try to take all these people on myself and just be dissatisfied and, want to pull my hair out because I'm so stressed. Or I could bring other people on.
We talked about earlier with another lady I was talking to today, collaboration
Yeah.
and bringing people along. Like, it's good to own a business, but do you need to own the whole business, or should you be, networking with other people?
Mm-hmm.
How important was it? And we talked behind the scenes.
Yeah.
How important it is to, allow someone else to do some of the work for you. How
Yeah.
important was it for you to get a team to help you with all this increase of business?
Yeah, it was super, super important. And the thing is, I had the right intentions. I think that's a big thing that separates me from a lot of people because, people may want to start their own thing only because it's just too much for them to
Right.
handle. But they want all the credit. That's the
Right.
thing for me is I never wanted all the credit.
Right.
That's why we're not the Chris A. Williams company. We're Assets Real Estate. At the end of the day.
Your name has nothing to do with it.
Exactly. It has nothing to do with me because I really want a platform and I really want my agents to reach the highest levels higher even than I was able to reach. So that's what gives me joy at the end of the day. It's not the money that comes from it, but it's seeing people reach a new level, new heights. And like we've got agents, in their young 20s that are making 5 figures a month.
Wow.
Which is amazing to see.
Yeah. So how old are you now?
25.
Wow. 5 years into the game.
Yeah, 5 years. 5 years.
And you bringing in people, more younger people.
Yep.
And you bringing people of color, but people from all walks of life.
All walks, yeah.
You are so unselfish. Why is it so important that you pour back into the community?
Because of personal experiences I had when I first started, there wasn't really anybody who looked like me when I first started being a young black male and not conforming to different ways of society, I'll say. So I was like, man, like this is kind of weird. And that's why a lot of people get discouraged from doing real estate, at least at that time, because they're like, there's really nobody that looks like me. They feel like this isn't a field for them.
Right.
So I really wanted to open that door, not just open, I wanted to kick down that door and say, hey, it doesn't matter how you look like, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter how you talk, it doesn't matter how you dress, none of that really matters.
Right.
It's all about what's in here at the end of the day, what's in your mind, can you help the client?
Tell me more about that $60 million. What is the $60 million y'all talked about?
60 million. Oh, in sales?
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as sales go, yeah, we sold about 60 million in sales last year in our very first year. So about 182 homes sold, I want to say, about 60 million in sales.
How's that possible?
Just working hard and trusting God at the end of the day.
Let me ask you this question right here. Where do you see yourself in the next 2 years?
Going back to that word that God has placed on my heart, abundance at the end of the day. Just abundance, growth, scaling, expansion. That's the main thing I'm focused on. So everything that I do on a day-to-day, like it's funny, people will ask like, what are your New Year's resolutions and think, I don't think 2025. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm thinking 2030.
Right.
That's where my mindset is.
Right.
So every single thing I'm doing on a day-to-day is leading to 2030's goal and, reverse engineer. So really 2 years, I just see myself growing and scaling. I really want all my agents on my team to be making 6 figures. Like that would be one of the biggest accomplishments for me.
And one more time, what is the name of your real estate company?
Assets Real Estate Team. Assets Real Estate Team.
Guys, we're going to take y'all a little deeper into Asset Real Estate Team. It's so much more to them that we need to share with you guys. Award-winning assets team right here. Can you tell me about some of the awards that y'all have won? So
some of the awards that we won, last year, speakingly, we were the #1 team by sales volume out of 100 plus first-class franchises, not just in Virginia, but everywhere. We're talking Florida, California, Vegas, whatever. We were outranking them all. And this is a team full of young people, too.
Wow.
It's not a bunch of old, experienced people.
Wow.
Just putting in the hard work and trusting God, like I said. That's one of the biggest ones. We've had multiple awards, too, for their sales production and get amazing 5-star testimonials from their clients, too. Honestly,
I thought y'all had something for the Hampton Roads.
Yep, Hampton Roads Realtor Association.
Yeah, that was
Circle of
big.
Excellence. Yep, Circle of Excellence, all of that.
How did it feel to get something like that? Coming from washing cars, working at Foot Locker, how did it come that you got that type of award?
I'll say it felt good. There was not just a lot of people who doubted me, but also I doubted myself, too, to start. So being able to prove to myself, like, hey, you can actually do this. You can be here with people who are older than your parents, people who've been doing this for 20, 30 years. It's one of your first years in, and you're up here in the same stage as them. You're receiving the same accolades as them. So that was really amazing for me. And that's, a big reason why I started Assets, too, is because, I know how I felt myself. So I just want to give that same feeling to so many other people.
Wow. Hey, guys, I'm Rhoda Young reporting live straight out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, with Chris A. Williams, guys, as the Assets Realty. guys, we're going to make sure we educate our people along the way with our success. There is no gatekeeping here
Nope.
on the Rhoda Young Live Show.
Mm-hmm.
We want everybody to eat from the same table. Let me ask you this. If we have some young people or just people in general
Mm-hmm.
that's interested in becoming an agent, how would they get in contact with you? How would they like, what do they start?
Yeah, great question. If you're interested in being a real estate agent, real estate investor too, because that's a big thing that I do now also too.
Yeah.
I would say the best way they can start is by consuming. I have free content on YouTube.
Okay.
So my YouTube is at I am Chris A. Williams. So I make a ton of videos because I just want to give back to the people at the end of the day.
Right.
So just giving out those videos up there. I mean, I'm also on Instagram under the same username, and my website's under the same thing too.
And what is that one more time for the people?
It's at I am Chris A. Williams, all platforms, YouTube, website. If you search there anywhere on your social media, you'll be able to find me up there.
Hey guys, this is the Rhoda Young Live Show, and it is been sponsored by Chris A. Williams, SS Realty here out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. Just amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to ask you one thing before we go. First time home buyers,
Okay.
what do you suggest to them?
It all depends on their situation. That's such a nuanced question, to be honest with you, because everybody's going to be in a different situation. But I think I'll give you the very first 2 steps that you should do, regardless of what your situation is. When I say regardless of what your situation is, it don't matter if your credit's in the 400s. It don't matter if you want to buy a house in 10 years. None of that matters. The first 2 things that you need to do is you need to speak with a top real estate agent in your area. So this goes out for anybody, even if you're not in Hampton Roads. Of course, if you're in Hampton Roads, reach out to one of my agents at the Assets Real Estate team, 100%. But if you're not, reach out to a top agent in your area, because that's the first thing. Because what they're going to do is they're going to use their resources to make sure you're good in every situation. So when we're talking about credit, they're going to hook you up with a great lender who can make sure you're taken care of financially. Even if your credit's bad, they'll put you on a free credit plan, and they'll do that. They'll help you along with that for you too.
A lot of people get scared when they talk about pulling their credit, and why do that shy a lot of people away?
My thing is, I honestly, I think why that is because people get very sensitive about their finances when they feel like they don't have much.
Right.
In a sense, they may think people may judge them, especially with social media, the way things are now. Like, it's very looked down upon to be struggling and things like that. So everybody wants to act like, oh, you know, I have the newest thing. I'm wearing all these new clothes. I got these new cars, so and so. But when you check their bank accounts, they got like $10 in there.
Right.
So people are ashamed of that. But I say you can't be ashamed of what you have, because if you're ashamed of it, you shy away from it, there's no way to fix it.
Right.
So the thing is, like, even if you do have $10 in your bank account, okay, let's find a solution in which we can fix that.
Okay.
And getting connected with a lender, going on a credit plan that'll be able to help you, because you got to use credit for your advantage. That's a big thing. Credit cards and credit companies, they make their money by taking advantage of people's lack of knowledge.
Oh, wow.
And people have a lack of knowledge when they are scared to talk about the subject.
So is credit cards good or not good?
They can be good, but they can also be bad too.
Wow. If you can't afford to pay it back.
Exactly. And a lot of people, I know so many people made this mistake. Like, soon as they get 18, they get a credit card. That's why these companies are on college campuses giving out credit cards, because that's where they make their money, by the interest. So people take an 18-year-old, they get a credit card, and they got a $20,000 limit. That 18-year-old has never seen $20,000 before. So they're like, oh, snap, I got $20,000. I'm going to go to Gucci, I'm going to go to Louis Vuitton, I'm going to buy everything. And now they got a $20,000 charge on their tab, and I don't think they realize they have to pay that back. Do they have to pay that back, now they got to pay it back with 25% interest. Right. So that's how people get in such terrible situations, just because they don't understand how it works. So I think education is a super big thing. We got to understand that.
Well, we went from being a real estate agent, from being a real estate company. Now we're going to talk about the investor part of
Let's do it.
your SS company.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you the other day.
Thank you.
How did you become an investor? I seen some stuff on your YouTube. Your YouTube is one more time?
At I am Chris A. Williams.
I seen all them nice videos that y'all make on YouTube. I seen that you bought a house, I think down in Florida, was it? Somewhere?
Not in Florida yet. Not
okay.
Yet.
Where did you buy one at?
You say you made all over. Yeah.
You buy houses all over. I seen when you bought a house. You said, "Now this is bringing me in a monthly income of $800."
Yep, cash. That's after all expenses. So it really gives me I want to say $2,500 is what my tenant pays me, but my mortgage is a bit less than $1,700. So this is $800.
Wow,
that's just one house.
Wow. How do you end up buying multiple properties? You come from washing cars and Foot Lockers. How did you do it?
Yeah, it's just education at the end of the day. Like, it's just trying to know as much as possible. And the thing is, when I say education, that's not talking about college education.
Right.
College, I went to the school of hard knocks.
Right.
You know, knocking my head, running against the wall,
Yeah.
doing things I wasn't supposed to. But I just always try to learn as much as possible. So like when people are listening to music and things like that, I don't, even at Enterprise, that's how I
Yeah.
found out about real estate. I wasn't listening to music while I was washing cars.
Right.
I was listening to podcasts.
Wow.
I was intaking information. I'm reading. This is what I do for, like, literally for fun. I will read books
Right.
and listen to podcasts, you know.
Wow.
So that's how I was able to accelerate my growth journey. Just
When
by
did you
learning.
trust yourself to say, okay, I'm gonna buy my first investment property? When did you trust yourself to do that?
Craziness. Because I think I should have done it beforehand. After my first year in real estate, really, I knew about investing.
Mhm.
I was just kind of scared to do it.
Yeah.
And the environment I was at the time, they didn't really promote that. So I actually bought my first investment property last year, and it took me forever to do it because I was
Yeah.
scared of messing up.
Yeah.
And then after I did, I'm like, oh, this is not that bad.
Right.
Okay, cool. So I did another one, I did another one, I did
Wow.
another one.
So it's possible to buy more than one property and get more than one property financed so that you can be an investor.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm closing on 2 next week. On Tuesday, I'm buying a property. I'm going to make it Airbnb, a short-term rental. Another one I'm going to keep as a long-term investment property.
If anybody want to get in contact with you and want to work for your assets company, how would they do that?
Yeah, they can just reach out on our social platforms. If they're interested in being an agent, they can reach out to Assets Real Estate Team on all social platforms. Or if they're interested in knowing more about the investing game or, you know, other advice in real estate, they can reach out to me.
Do
at
y'all
I'm
actually
Prepared.
still go out and take them and buy houses? Can they reach out if you want to, like if I want to purchase a house?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, if anybody's interested in buying a house, either myself or one of our assets agents, they'll be glad to help you out with that.
Wow.
And we strive on giving it people as much information as possible too. We're not one of those people, or we're not one of those companies that's like, hey, we got client one and transaction one, and you know, we just gonna do whatever and we go on to the next. Nah, we don't operate like that. We have a very specific procedure. We have a very specific journey that we take our clients on to make sure they're properly served in every single step of the way.
Wow. Do you think it's a good time to buy a house? The market going up and down right now. Is it a seller market or is it the buyer market?
Yeah, that's a great question. And a lot of people are kind of going to give you weird answers when it comes to that, because a lot of people do have intentions that kind of motivate their pockets. I will say I don't really sell houses anymore, me personally, so I'm not going to give you a biased answer.
Right.
So the answer to that is we are still in a bit of a seller's market.
Okay.
And I say we're in a bit of a seller's market because the inventory shortage. So it's just a basic law of supply and demand. Right now the supply for houses is low, but the demand is super high.
Okay.
So, but it's balancing out a little bit. It's better than it was a few years ago. But to your question of is it a good time to buy? I'll give you the same answer that I would give somebody 5 years ago, 2 years ago, last week, whatever it is that yesterday was the best time to buy.
Right.
And the reason for that is because real estate prices are going to constantly keep appreciating.
Yeah.
They're going to keep on going up. So like I always say, I wish I was born earlier, because you know I know people who have like houses that are worth $900,000, $1 million, and their mortgage is like $1,100, which is crazy.
But what's crazy is if you get a house, depending on your credit, for $260,000, which that's your house that we bought back in the days, $120,000. Now you get it looked like $120,000 house from 10 years ago, but now it's $260,000. How do people afford it? Because now they got to pay like $2,000 a month, $2,200 a month, but people income that they bringing in ain't balancing with the price they charge in the mortgage. But still, the rent is still as high. How do you?
It's tough when it comes to that. I mean, that's why I always preach using real estate as a tool, in a sense, because if we're just going off of, you know, just economic stats, inflation has constantly risen, but wages have remained stagnant. Rent has constantly risen, and it's not going to stop. There's no such thing as rent caps, at least in Virginia. So it's like, okay, how can we combat that? And I think the best way to combat that is owning real estate. So as we talked about, you know, my rental properties, that brings me, just one property brings me $800 a month in cash flow. So if I want to, you know, buy another property, okay, I can use that. Or there's a thing called a HELOC also too. So let's say I get in the jam, God forbid, I get in a car accident, I'm paralyzed and I got super expensive medical bills. Well, I could take equity out of any of my houses and that'll pay for any of my expenses. That's an extreme example, but what if I want to go on vacation?
Right.
I can take equity out of my house and spend it on that too.
Oh, wow.
So there's just so many different options.
And for the people that don't know about, and there's a lot of people that never bought a house, what is equity if they want to know?
Yeah, so equity is basically the difference in between what your balance is, your principal balance, what you owe, versus what is worth, what it will appraise for.
Wow. Amazing, guys. This is Chris A. Williams at Access Realty right here, guys, out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. If you're looking to buy a house, contact them. If you're looking to be an investor, contact them. And if you're looking to sell your house, contact them. They'll buy your house too.
We need houses.
Yes, they need houses. We buy houses now, but they buy houses, guys.
Yeah.
I am Rhoda Young, and you are
Chris A. Williams.
And we are on the scene of this right now, just like that. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about while we're here?
Not really. I would say, guys, for anybody that's watching, the biggest takeaway or the biggest thing I would say to you guys is try to educate yourselves as much as possible. Don't be scared. Be willing to take risks. Because if you're not willing to take risks, your life is just going to stay the same. If I wasn't willing to take the risk, I would still probably be at Foot Locker selling shoes. I would be at Enterprise still cleaning cars. And not to say, I'm in this amazing, super rich place or anything like that. But I think I do pretty good for myself. And not do I just do decent for myself, but I have ways to provide for other people, to have ways to pour in and bless other people. And at the end of the day, none of that would be possible if I didn't take the risk. So if you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for your future family. Do it for the future people that you can bless.
How many people do you have on your team?
15.
You have 15 agents.
Yeah.
And you own a company.
Mm-hmm.
25 years old and own his own company. God is good to you.
God is good. God's the greatest.
Have a marketing team.
Oh, that's just agents. Yeah, I've got staff. Today's the 15th, so I just had to pay payroll. So trust me. Yeah, I got staff. I got a great marketing team.
Wow.
I've got great other people that are working in other sectors of the company.
Wow.
And it's just a blessing.
I'm just saying this is an aggressive business. You have a marketing team. I'm sitting here on your studio. I just can't believe you got a whole marketing team. And I seen that y'all go out of town. You say, Rhoda, I cannot no longer sell houses, do commercials, edit it. You say it's not enough time.
Yeah.
When did you figure out that you make enough money to provide your own team? Because that's what I'm troubled with. I need a team. How do I become not selfish and say, okay, just saying, if I made, we're going to hypothetically speak, if I made $300, how do I say, well, I want all the $300 for myself. I want it, and that's what kills me, because I want the whole 300, but I got to be willing to share the 300.
Yeah.
And if we're not willing to share the money we're making, I'm going to stay stuck where I'm at.
So the thing is, you got to figure out what is the activity that you do that aren't worth your time, in a sense. So one of the first things that I did was replacing cleaning my house. Okay. I hired a house cleaner. So I could get a house cleaner. Let's say I pay her $80. Mm-hmm. Okay, it takes me like 3 hours at least if I'm moving very quick to clean my house. Really, it probably takes like 6 to 8 hours. Right. I'm moving a little slow. I don't really like cleaning. Yeah. But all right, so it takes that much time for me to clean my house. Now, what I'm good at is sales. Okay. I can sell really pretty much anybody. If I get on one phone call that takes 30 minutes and I do a sale, that's going to bring me at least $10,000. Wow. So my price per hour is worth $10,000. So why would I do an activity that costs me $80 to outsource? You just got to think of it that way, in a sense. And honestly, I know you asked like when you think is the best time to hire people, when you feel like you're financially ready. I don't think you ever will, to be honest with you, especially when it comes to, paying top people, because top people do want the top price. Right. But you just got to think, what's the return on investment at the end of the day? So take that $300 example. Like, yeah, you want to keep $300 for yourself, and I get it, but okay, what if that $300 can turn to $3,000? Wow. But to turn it to $3,000, you got to pay somebody $150. Now, it seems like up front you have to give them half, but you're not really giving them half, because it's not $300 anymore. It's 10 times more. Wow. And all you had to do is pay them $150.
When did you start looking outside the box?
Last year, really. A lot of things happened last year that just completely just changed my mind and my mindset on everything. Because I was playing it pretty safe. Like, I was doing very well, but I was playing it pretty conservative. And now I take a lot of risks. And the thing is, why I take so many risks is because I've been at the bottom before, and God has built me up multiple times. So it's like, all right, if I'm going to lose it all today, been here before, you can do it again.
Can I ask you a question? With so much on you, being young, being 25, how are you doing mentally?
I'll say I'm doing a lot better than I have been. You're right. It's a lot of things that do go into it, like my mental state and such. The biggest thing for me is I know I always have to stay strong, because there's people that are depending on me, not just my agents, not just my staff, but my younger brothers, my younger sister, my family. A bunch of people do look up to me, so I gotta be on my P's and Q's, and at the end of the day, God's got me. Regardless of the storms going on in my life, He's gonna make sure that they do pass. What I always try to remember is that the heavier the storm, the bigger the blessing.
Wow.
When you get out of the storm.
Wow. You make it look easy, but I know
Thank
it's
you.
hard. And I just want to give you your props and your flowers and tell you that I'm proud of you.
I appreciate that.
I'm proud of you for all the success that you have made, because I know, if nobody else know, every milestone you have met, it took determination.
Yeah.
I know about being at home. I know about being discouraged. I know about feeling like you want to give up.
Mm-hmm.
I know about crying when you're by yourself, when things didn't seem like it was adding up.
Mm-hmm.
I know about that.
Yeah.
I know that you make it look easy, and I know it's been hard for you to get where you are.
Thank you.
And I'm so proud of you, and I know that your building's already big, but you're just gonna be greater because you have a heart to go. And anytime you keep God on the tip of your tongue, He gonna turn around and get to you 10 times fold. And then I say a closed hand, they say never letting it out and won't let none in. But you keep your hand open. You got your marketing team, you got your team of agents and stuff like that. You brought me here, Rhoda Young, and you sponsor my show today. And God is not asleep. He see everything you do.
Yeah.
And He gonna continue to sow into your life.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm Rhoda Young Live, guys. And it's been my pleasure meeting Chris. And don't forget that A. Williams, guys. Just like that. There's too many Chris Williams out here. And y'all need to know which one you're talking about. We're talking about this Chris A. Williams at SS Realty here out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. And I'm Rhoda Young, reporting live on the scene of this right now. Just like that.